All right, everybody, welcome to our new podcast. This is Captain Jim and
Captain Scott,
and we are here at the captain's table. We're going to try and put out one podcast a week, talking about our adventures and
everything boating, bow to stern boating, everything boating.
So what do we do here?
Everything boating.
Everything boating.
Goodness. Now we have with bow to stern boating, we have a sailing school, we have a charter business, we have power boats, we have sailboats, we have kayaks, we have a sailing school, we have youth programs on our opties and lasers and FJs, day camp, college programs, school group programs, and we also fix boats. Just about anything you have wrong, we can fix.
And we have a...
Or he can fix.
So we also have one of the really cool programs that we have is we have a youth sailing program for kids during the summertime, which my boy has gotten a chance to really take advantage of that last summer. So we really do a lot of different things here.
We do. That's why we're bow to stern.
Yes. Yeah.
We just cover it all.
Yep. We have a fleet of Cape Dories. Hopefully this upcoming summer we'll do some regattas with them.
That's right.
And
hopefully the fleet will grow.
Yes.
We only have 3. Hopefully we'll have more.
Yes, we're sprinkling Miracle Grow on it. So let's see. What are some of the things that we're going to cover in the podcast?
Well, I think we're going to break down in terms of who we are, where we came from, our backgrounds, a little bit about the business and what we do here, a lot about what we've done, what we've experienced, what you can expect when you're out on the water, what can happen to you, what's good, what's bad.
Yes.
Not always the pretty stuff, but we'll cover the bad and the ugly too.
That's right. And it's not going to be so much, hey, listen to us. You know, this is how you do things. This is how you should fix things. But, hey, look what happened to us this week. This is the situation we got ourselves into because we like to get into situations.
Yep. And this is how we got ourselves out.
That's right.
Somebody else may have a better way to get out of it, but this is how we did it. Different. There we go.
Yeah.
We got our producer over here telling us something.
So Jim.
And we're new to this. I've never done a podcast. This is my first one. So I'll be asking questions, and you guys can tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Like, share in the comments below.
There we go.
That's the only thing she made me memorize. Like, share, and comments below.
And I don't have a clue what that means.
So, let's talk about your background. How did you get into sailing?
Oh, goodness. Way back when I was a kid, my father would take me sailing, and I went to Camp Seagull locally, learned how to sail. And then he had a windmill, and I still remember sticking my hand in the hull of that windmill trying to get way up into the side. Now, mind you, he had cut an inspection port and put screws all the way around it to hold it in place. And I stuck my hand in there, and after a while I got tired of cutting my hand up from all the screws that he put in. So we had to take those out and get in. But no, I worked on those as a kid and then got to sailing. And when I was in Lake Norman, just north of Charlotte, I started a sailing program there. And then we moved to Florida. And in Florida, I started a sailing school. My wife, Stephanie, said, well, you like sailing and you like to teach, so why don't you teach sailing? And that was after I left the YMCA. So I started teaching, and that grew and grew. We left to go cruise with our family. We left when our kids were 3 and 4, which we'll talk about that too, cruising as a family. And we ended up here because this was some of the nicest, least expensive waterfront property on the whole East Coast. Don't tell anybody that.
That's classified.
Yeah. You can come visit. No. So we ended up here and brought the school here. and we started off with just a couple of boats. We had our big cruising boat, another small boat, and we brought in Opties. We got a whole other story we'll get into later, but we got Opties and started growing a youth program, which you mentioned before, and that was kind of what we were known for a while, was our youth program. And I think we're in our 15th summer coming up with that. About 150, 175 kids a summer, maybe more. And that grew, and then from there we just added boats to the fleet and morphed, and we've got a monk that we're sitting on right now, a trawler. We've got Cape Dories, we've got boats from 8-foot Opties and keel boats all the way up to the 25-foot cows and 52-foot Irwin we're working on. So we've got a little bit of everything, plus some power boats. And you know, when you do this, you can't really put all your eggs in one basket, so you try and spread things out, which is why we have a sailing school, a charter business services group programs, special programs.
A satellite school.
What's that?
That satellite school.
Oh, a satellite school?
Mm-hmm.
We do?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we got Harry that goes down to Jamaica.
That's right. We've had Montessori school kids come from as far as Kentucky, so we can do school groups for a week. It kind of grew into, again, if you want to do something on the water, we can make it happen.
We can facilitate it.
Yep.
So how many years do you think you've been sailing total?
Well, you figure out how old I am there.
I ain't got enough fingers.
No, you don't. No. Goodness, I've probably been sailing since I was about 13, 14. Actually, maybe, no, before that, probably around 10 or 11. Yeah, so I've been sailing 50 years, almost.
50 plus 30 what?
No, not that. Started when I was around 10.
All right.
So, yeah. So how about you?
I sailed as a kid with my mom on a Hobie Cat, and I met a guy when I was in my early 20s, and he was just a happy-go-lucky Mr. Rogers, you know, and we worked together, and I was teaching him how to do what I did, and after about 2 weeks of working with him, I asked him, I was like, what kind of drugs are you on? You know, you're way too happy. And he starts to tell me that he just had no stress in his life. He woke up every morning, watched the sun rise, and came home, had dinner, a glass of wine, sat in the cockpit and watched the sunset. And so I talked to him for a couple of weeks. He showed me pictures because we didn't have smartphones back then.
Right.
So he brought a photo album.
Phones back then.
And so I got hook, line, and sinker. That hook was in my gill, and I wanted to go sailing. So I bought a sailboat and moved. She's my ex-wife now, but I moved my wife on the boat and my two oldest kids, and that turned into 10 years of cruising. Bahamas, all the way down to Trinidad, South America, Belize, and then came back and moved to sold the boat and moved to California and lived there for a couple of years and
got landlocked.
Yep, didn't like it. Me and dirt don't get along. And I moved out here and bought another sailboat, and me and my current wife ended up moving on it, and I was heading down to Florida and I met you.
Right.
And 10 years later, I'm still heading down to Florida.
That's right. Still haven't made it to Florida. You're good at getting hooked.
Yeah.
I remember you lived on your boat next door, and I remember hearing afterwards that you were like, "Yeah, I just watched all those boats go by and the kids go by, and I'd like to be involved in that." And we're real good at bringing people in and cooking them like frogs.
Yeah.
It just kind of gets you in and gets you involved, and next thing you know, you're doing a little bit more, and next thing you know, you're working full time, and I'm calling it God knows what time of hour and saying, oh, God, I need some help. Can we go to Washington?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I know it's 11 o'clock at night, and we won't be back till 2 o'clock in the morning, but yeah, because when I first came here and met with you, I told you I was looking for part-time.
That's right.
And that as soon as hurricane season was over, I was out.
Yep.
And I just didn't tell you what
which hurricane season. Well, this
Um,
hurricane season just ended yesterday, and you're not going anywhere this year.
No.
Well, maybe a little bit. We'll
Yeah.
do a wintertime trip somewhere, even if it's local.
Yeah, I'd like to. We'll see how that goes.
Make sure we go with a boat that's got a heater.
Yes. Yes. You know, that was brutal. That winter I spent up in Maryland, that was cold.
That was last year. The year before.
Yeah, that was cold. I have no aspirations of going that far north again.
You shouldn't be north far enough where you have to winterize your boat.
Yeah.
You got to winterize your boat because your boat may freeze. That's cold. That's one nice thing here. We don't have to do that. We sail year round. Notice I'm in shorts.
Yep. So, when you sit back and you look at everything, who was your biggest inspiration into sailing?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was one of those, I don't know if I could put it on any one person. It probably has to be more of the energy and the experience and the freedom that probably drove me more than anything. And I think I learned from so many different people. I mean, that's one of those things. Even when I teach, if I'm not learning something new while I'm teaching, then it's time for me to quit.
Yep.
I'm either learning something about somebody or learning a different way to do something, or a new light bulb goes off in my head. But just probably was more of what it gave me and how you feel out on the water, and just that the community. Yeah, so I'd say it's got to be more the community is what did it than anybody else. And when the cruising community is a community unlike any other.
Yep.
Unlike any other.
Yep. The lifestyle is definitely very inspirational. But I think my biggest inspiration was Captain Ron.
Captain Ron.
Captain Ron. That was such a great comedy movie, and it showed you that anybody
could do it.
Smarts did not have anything to do with it, and anybody could do it. And that's always been like a great flick.
And if it's going to happen, it's going to happen out there.
That's right.
So let's go.
That's right.
Let's go.
So where are we right now?
We are in Oriental on Smith Creek. Smith Creek. Right here. The bridge is right over there. Greens Creek is also right over there. And so we're in Smith Creek. We're at bow stern. We're sitting on in Vino Veritas, our 36-foot monk, at our docks.
Yes.
So it kind of looks from a big view all the way down to right where we are.
So what made you choose Oriental?
Again, it has to do with the environment and the people. Oriental is a small town. It's a great community. You can walk around anywhere in town. And between Oriental and Pamlico County, there's lots of people here, lots of fun, great community, great support. The sailing here doesn't compare to anywhere.
No.
You look at the Chesapeake Bay and you say, it's got big open waters and it's nice, but it's hot during the summer, cold during the winter.
Yep.
It's just too hot.
Yeah, you
and
can't
too calm. You can't sail. Plus, it's too crowded.
Yeah.
I mean, a busy day here, you might see a dozen other boats.
Yeah.
So it's kind of still a little bit of an untouched secret. I think some of that's also because we're just off the beaten path.
Yeah.
Nobody comes to Oriental unless you're coming here or you're lost.
Yes.
This is not on the road to anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I've sailed um, from Boston all the way down to Florida and around and back up to Pensacola area, and there's definitely places that have prettier water.
Right.
And there's places that have prettier landscape. But there's just something magical about the Noose and the Pamlico Sound here, and the fact that you can sail all year long here. It just...
And it's a different environment too. It's almost more like it's like open water lake sailing.
Yes. Yeah.
In that you can be in the river and you can have good, straight, steady breezes that you're not going to get on a lake because it is so open. But at the same time, you've got the protection.
Yeah.
It's relatively shallow. It's funny, I get people calling and they say, well, where do you sail? Sail on the Noose River. And they say, you sail on a river?
Yes. It's in the top 3 widest rivers in the United States. So
actually, it's the widest mouth river on the East Coast.
Yep.
And our creek that we're on right now, what's that, 50 yards across, 75 yards across?
I'd probably say close to 100.
Yeah, and that's
we
a creek.
We can play football right there.
Right. But the creeks I grew up in, you could step across on the rocks, But here, this is, our creeks are a whole lot bigger, and the river, very little current, just a little bit of down current.
Yep.
But great place to sail, great place to learn, and wonderful place to gun call.
Yes.
Yep. There's lots of, if you want to go to a town, you can anchor off the town, then you're shore, you can go anchor off in the middle of nowhere and not see anybody.
Yep. Now, one of the things that I do like about this area is when you want to go sailing for a 2-day trip. You have a day trip and you're in Newbern, you're in Bath, you're in Washington, you're in Elizabeth, you're at Coinjock, you're in Beaufort. And Ocracoke.
Cape Lookout.
No,
don't say Ocracoke. We don't go to Ocracoke. You can do that, just not with us.
Ocracoke's not bad. It's hard to pick a good weather window.
Right. Yeah, you can't get there, you can't get back, and it's hard for us to service. I mean, we're a lot about providing service and support, and we can't do that out there.
Yep. And one of the things about North Carolina is if you're sailing here, it will make you a better sailor. There's a reason why it's stamped on charts, Graveyard of the Atlantic. And our weather does get something pretty good. But for the most part, it's not that bad.
Well, you get all kinds of conditions here. I mean, you look, we've got a nice day. It's flat, it's calm, nice breeze. You go in the river, it's another 5 or 10 knots, but it could fetch up this afternoon.
Yep.
So you could have calm, flat, windy.
Yep.
You can have windy and nasty and 3 to 4 foot choppy seas that are uncomfortable for big boats.
Yeah.
But
also with that, as us being a sailing school, it also works in our favor here in the Noose, because if it's storming out of this direction, we stay close to this side of the river and we have protection. And when the wind switches and it starts rolling from the other side, we just go to the other side of the river and sail over there in perfect conditions.
That's right.
And so once again, the only time that it really gets snotty is when we have a nor'easter, and then we get the 5 to 6 foot waves that are 2 to 3 seconds apart, and it's big, it's burly, it beats you up. But if you do it right, you put reefs in your sails.
You work the seas.
Yep. And
change where you want to go or get there a different way.
That's right. And it will teach you so much seamanship, within somewhat of a safe parameter.
Right.
So it's just, it's really good.
It is. Plus on the little boats, when it's like that out there, it's not so bad in here.
That's
and
right.
We can still sail in the...
So, How do you think the school's impacted the town in the last 20 years that you've been here?
Well, it's interesting because we started with the town when I started with, came in and had some adult classes, but we were pretty small at that point because there was another school in town as well that we worked with. But the kids program started, and I came into town. I had 2 little girls at the time, 6 and 7, and it was known as the sailing capital of North Carolina, but they didn't have a sailing school for kids. And so we needed to start that and put an ad in the town dock on the local web rag, and for who's had an opti. And next thing you know, somebody pipes up and says, "Don't have an opti, but I might be able to build you one." Got a group of guys. Well, that grew and grew, and next thing you know, you had a guy with a shop, and they designed a mold for us, and there must have been 15, 20 guys at least that built us a dozen optis. And then we turned around and said, open it up to the community, and they bought it for parts, and we started talking to people in the community, and I talked to a couple of business owners I knew, and next thing you know, we had all the boats paid for. We had sponsors from everywhere. We had all the equipment we needed. And one of the stories, I still get cold chills. One of the guys told the lead guy, said, "Why are we doing this for a company? You know, shouldn't this be a nonprofit? Why are we doing this for a company?" And Doug Sly was the gentleman. He says, "You know what?" He says, "He's got skin in the game, and I think it's going to work." Well, after the first summer, the guy who questioned it came back and said, "You know, it's the best thing I've ever done."
Nice. Yeah.
I still get emotional about that. But no, the town, I mean, people go to the Bean on Friday afternoons to watch the kids sail up. We start here on Mondays.
Yeah, back up a minute. Talk about, let them know what your week goes for to lead up to the Bean with the kids.
Well, we start off here. We've got a beach, which she'll show you the beach and the property another time. But we've got a beach here in the Optis, and all the boats are right on shore. And we have 15 to 25 kids, and some of them have never set foot on a boat, and some of them have been with us before, and some of them have sailed other places. So we use very much the ready, fire, aim. So we kind of give them what they need to know and shove them off and let them learn and help them learn along the way.
Now isn't that backwards? Ready, fire, aim?
That is, but you know, both of us can talk for hours or days about sailing, and we bore people to death. So we tell them what they need to know to not get hurt. And you know, you push the tiller this way, and you go that way. You pull the tiller this way and go that way. You pull the sail in, and you go. You let the sail out, and you stop most of the time. And then put them in the boat and shove them out. And it works. It's amazing because the kids will start off. And Monday, our staff, well, actually back up, when the kids rig the boats, they furl the boats, their staff doesn't touch them. They don't pick them up and put them on the racks. They do all of it. And once we get going, Monday morning is a triage thing, so our staff knows they're running around, and they go find who needs the most help and spend a few minutes with them. And about an hour into it, everybody's doing fine. And we're sailing out here in the creeks and go out in the river if the wind and the weather allows and the sea state allows. And on Thursday we sail around, have watermelon down on the beach, and then on Friday at the end of the week they're sailing out down under the bridge and up to the Bean for ice cream. And that's when, kind of coming back full circle, the town, we may have 25 life jackets clipped on the fence there by the seawall. And
at the city dock.
Yeah, at the city dock. And people come out. People come out just to watch them come up. Don't have any kids in the program. When we first started, the people that were involved with the program, I'd be in Baybur or something. I'd get phone calls, Jim, there's a storm coming. Do you see it? And they're watching the weather for the kids. So, and we get people that live on the creek tell us about what's going on, and grandparents and family, and it's very much of a community-based program still. Even though we don't reach out for a whole lot of support, but if I know if we needed it, it would be there. It's a neat program, and I personally think the town likes it.
So, what do you think? What do you think our vision for the future is? Where would you like to see this place go in the next 5 years?
I'd really like to be able to reach out and provide programs and opportunity to more folks who don't always get an opportunity to be out on the water. and bring those folks in, as well as still being able to provide the best boats we can for people to use, provide quality instruction. And I think there's a niche that we're starting to get into to reach out to, it's just people who can't have the opportunity, and or people who the experience of being out on the water and sailing can help.
Yeah.
Whether that's, I was talking with somebody just the other day about mental health and how it can help, and how it can help kids and troubled youth, and even the general person who's just got so much going on in their life.
Yep.
That they can get out and get away and come back at the end of the weekend and just go, wow, I needed that.
It's amazing how many different ways sailing helps you. It helps you to relax. It helps you to unwind from the stress. It helps me with PTSD. And where I would like to see us in 5 years, the school's doing great as far as the youth program. I'd love to see more kids get an opportunity. But some of the things that I would like to see us do is be able to take people down to the Bahamas. I know there's a lot of people that want to do, a Bahama trip, but they're just too scared to make that first jump by themselves. And so I'd like to see us, during the winter times, start implementing a 2-week program. We'll take you down, show you what it's like to go through customs, and we'll come back. And I know we got some things in the works working for some specialty groups that we'll dig into that later as it comes through. And I also want to see us. I got an idea for working more with the vets, and see how that goes. But that's things I'd like to see us dig into.
Well, and I think all of those is something that we've got ideas, but I think there's a whole lot more ideas out there.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why we're doing this, is that we want to morph and figure out what's good for the community. And when I say community, I don't necessarily mean here, but the sailing and boating community.
Yes.
Wherever you're from, whatever your background, and if there's something that you'd like to do or see or be able to do, that's something that we can morph into.
Yep. Yeah.
We still keep our core.
Yep.
We still, very much. I tell all the staff and all the captains, are you having fun? Well, are you safe? Are you having fun? And are you learning something? And if we can do all three of those things, it doesn't make any difference what we're doing.
That's right.
And when we're teaching sailing to the kids, it's life skills, it's activities, it's self-confidence, and I still get that. And it's amazing how many adults we get that come in and they're nervous about it and don't want to take the helm, and they come back and they've got so much more self-confidence just because it's something they conquered.
I have raised, you have raised, but I have raised 2 older kids, 10 years on the water, and now I'm going for round 2, and I have an 11-year-old that's been on the boat since he was 5, and I have a 4-year-old who left the hospital and went straight to the boat. And boat kids are amazing. They get grounded at an early age in the fact of, there's consequences for actions. You can't just go pulling that drain plug, right?
That's right.
And
can't let the water run.
That's right. So they learn at a really young age that there's serious reasons why you do stuff. So it grounds them a little bit more than other children, and at the same time, without stripping their imagination or their youth away from them.
Right.
So it just, boat kids are really, really cool.
Gives them a different perspective on life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it makes it a little bit harder later on, but it still gives them that confidence and perspective that helps.
Mm-hmm.
I know when we were cruising, I think it was a whole lot harder to come back than it was to go.
Right.
We thought it was hard to leave, but boy, it was harder to come back.
You know, I remember the first time I was getting ready to untie the dock lines. You know, I had circled a date on a calendar, and I started months out. And as it was getting closer, it was like, oh man, I still need to do this. I still need to do that. I need to do the other. I was stressing like you wouldn't believe about all this stuff. And there's this guy, we called him Old Man Richard. You know, he's the old salt of the marina. And he came by. I was sitting on the back of my boat shaking my head, and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, man, I got so much stuff. And he says, you're always going to have stuff.
That's right.
If you wait for a perfect scenario,
You'll never leave.
You'll be dead.
That's right. You'll
You know?
never leave.
And he says, just go. And that's one of the things I love about the movie Captain Ron.
Yeah, that's right.
If anything's going to happen, it's going to happen out there.
So let's go.
You know, so let's go.
Yep.
Let's just, you know, get it done.
Yep. Have the safety stuff on the boat done, and then
Yep.
everything else you can do along the way.
It's
Because you're going to have other stuff to do along the way anyway.
That's right. Or it's mind over matter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mind because I don't matter. So, all right. Well, this was a good chat.
Yeah, I think it's a good start. I hope
Yeah.
you guys are interested in our stories, and who knows what we're going to talk about.
We're going to have guests coming on board, telling their stories, and
Lots of folks from Oriental, lots of folks that have been involved with what we do.
yeah,
Kind of hear their stories, and then who knows, you'll hear a lot about what we've done. And like
Yeah.
I said, the good, the bad, the ugly. And if you guys got suggestions for us to talk about, let us know, and we're happy to talk about those too. Even if we don't know, we'll find out, or we'll bring somebody
right.
in that will.
that's right.
You know.
I have 30 years experience.
Yeah.
You have 75 years experience.
Maybe between the two of us, we got close to 70, 75 years of experience on the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, people ask all the time, how do I get better? Time on the water.
That's right.
And
How many miles?
We don't know. I mean, God knows we don't know all of it. Not anywhere close. I mean, there are people out there that have forgotten more than I know.
Yeah.
And
that's funny that you said that, because when I teach, I teach the ASA 101 class, the
3, 4,
all the way up to
up.
the 114, right?
Yep.
So I don't teach a whole lot of the 101 classes. You know, I may go a while before, and I have to pull the book out, and I have to read through the book before I teach the class, because there's so many things that I do without thinking about.
That's right.
And I'll
It's muscle memory. You go
Yep.
skim right over it, and you got to back up and go, whoa, wait a second. How do you get on the boat and over the lifeline safely?
Yep.
And that's just second nature. We don't
Yep.
even think about it, but we got to make sure that we back up and explain the hows and the whats and the whys. And
Yep.
I mean, we stress, all of our captains do. It's not about how to do it on this boat. It's about the theory and the principle, so you can apply it anywhere.
How we doing, Steph?
Our producer.
Good.
Is the battery dead yet?
No.
We're supposed to be done talking.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
How long did we ramble for?
I think y'all are just over a few minutes.
Over a few minutes. Well,
So-
we'll see you later.
Yeah, you're
Well,
at
I
35
got-
right now.
We wrap it up.
I got one more question for you. How many miles do you think you have underneath your keel?
Oh, goodness. Well, if you add up all the boats, probably 10 to 15,000. Yeah, maybe more.
I think I got you by a little bit.
I'm sure you do. Well, you've been further than I have.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been the whole East Coast and Bahamas numerous times, and I mean, who knows when you start adding all the little trips, you know, the time that you spend on the water for a day, and you don't think that's much, and it may only be 10, 20 miles, but when you do that 100 times a year, it adds up. But in terms of cruising, I'm probably looking 10 to 15,000 coastal cruising miles.
Yeah, I think I'm around 25, almost 30, just cruising.
Right.
But that's not including the deliveries and
Right.
because I made a couple trips from up north to Florida, and that's kind of cheating because you get oh, this trip was 1,500 miles.
Right.
Took me 5 days, and so that does kind of
they're different. But yeah, when you run that. But the good thing is that both of us probably have at least another 5 to 10 or more to do.
Oh, much more.
To do.
Much more. Yeah. I just got a new boat, or new to me boat,
Right.
and we're in the process of giving your boat a complete makeover.
That's right. Trying to decide whether power boat, sailboat, trawler, or sailboat. Which one? Good problem to have.
Travel all day.
Sailboat all day, every day.
Yeah. Unless you're just in the States, then if you're going to stay in the ditch, trawler's hard to beat.
Yeah.
You come up to those bridges, and you go right under them.
Yeah.
Everybody else is sitting there waiting, and you go right on by. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, there is.
So I have to admit that I used to be all blowboat, and I didn't like the stink pots, but now I can see both sides.
Well, the difference is that my wallet and your wallet.
No.
Different stories.
No. Because if you're in the States, you're going to be motor sailing, and I'm trawling. Same thing.
Yeah.
I don't like the high-end, real expensive power boat. So no, the wallets don't make a difference. The wallets don't make a difference. So everybody's in the same boat when you get out there. Now we got to quit. You'll meet our producer, but she's telling us it's time to go.
All right. Well, I want to thank y'all for hanging out, listening to us ramble. I hope you look forward to seeing more episodes from us.
And hit like,
subscribe, and what's the last one?
Follow.
There you
do
go.
all three,
Yeah.
and tell us what you think. The good, the bad, the ugly. Don't be too mean.
Yeah.
This was our first time.
Yes. Yeah.
It'll get better, I promise.
Or we won't let him back on the screen.
That's right.
We ain't made up our mind yet. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and hope you have a good day.